Welcome to Behind the Badge with your special guest, Lieutenant Williams, your news source for all things police in the city of Fond du Lac.
It's KFIZ today. It's Behind the Badge. Weekly visit with the Fond du Lac Police Department. Lieutenant Ryan Williams is in studio, and today we're talking all things SWAT Team.
SWAT Team, yes. We've talked about it on here, and I think recently we talked about when it's not a SWAT call, and that's one thing I want to reemphasize is that we have that big armored vehicle, and just because that's out on a scene, I know it does say SWAT on it, that doesn't mean it's a SWAT call. That is, it's a rescue vehicle. It's a way to go into any scene safely and rescue someone out of there. Now, there's no guns on it or anything like that. It's not a tank or anything like that. It's actually a Ford F-550 with armor on it. That's basically what that is. And
the Bearcat, is it called the Bearcat or no?
Yep, it's called a Bearcat. It's by a company called Linko, and they basically take Ford F-550s and they put the armor on them, and you'll see that they're very commonly used in law enforcement. But it's a rescue vehicle, but not a SWAT vehicle.
Right.
So then I'm here to talk about SWAT, and just so everyone's clear, there's been a lot of changes in what the SWAT team does over probably the last 10 years. I think we've changed tactics 10 or 15 years as far as when we get called out and what we're there for. But to put things very easy is we're almost always going to be involved in instances where it comes down to a hostage rescue situation. So that's where the SWAT team members earn their big money. That's what we train for. I'm a team leader on the SWAT team, so there's a SWAT commander, and then there's two team leaders, and we both lead a team of other operators. And every operator has special qualifications in different areas. Like we all have a sniper unit, we've got a shield operator, we have chemical munitions operators, and there's some cross training and stuff on that stuff. But hostage rescue is our forte. That's what we train for the most on, and that's probably the most critical role that we do. So if you get a SWAT level call out, it's usually going to be some sort of a hostage rescue or someone is in trouble. Now, that's not all we do. So we also have, we're also able to serve search warrants that have a high degree of danger involved in them. So if you think about things that would include that would be someone that is like a weapons, like smuggling weapons or something like that. Sometimes, and this is something that I would say we probably should do more is, so our ICAC, which stands for Internet Crimes Against Children. When someone gets arrested for doing child crimes, they know that their life is figuratively kind of over, like, because they're, everyone that knows them is going to disown them, probably for a good reason, their life as they know is over. So there's a desperation there.
Sure.
So if you take that and add it to a couple of other quantities, that could be something that the SWAT team is called out for. Speaking of that particular incident, we actually had an officer here named Jared Falsgraf that he went to the FBI, so he left us, for the bigger agency.
Wow.
And but he was down in Florida and he was serving an ICAC warrant, and his team got shot up, and he got shot 7 times and survived.
Wow.
He lost 2 members of his team as well. So that's how critical those ICAC calls are, is that that's the end of these people's lives, and
Right.
and we've had a lot of that where and right now, like, the state and our detective bureau handles most of those, but if they can say that the person has weapons or something like that, it might be a SWAT team call out. Another thing, usually people think about just houses, but it could be, we just got done training in October on vehicle assault. So like, let's say someone like the movie Speed took a bus. I'm not saying they're gonna make it, you can't go under 55, but or a bus, so we work with like the city, and we like actually train in buses and school buses. We worked with Johnson Bus in town, and we become really familiar with all these different things where like we could be used, and then we game plan ahead of time for things that would be good for rescuing someone in those situations. So it's really important for us to train. SWAT operators train. We have 16 extra days a year that we actually train. A lot of it, and we need them all because there's a lot of different disciplines that we have to practice with. One of the things unique to Fond du Lac is we have an explosive breach team. An explosive breach is basically exactly what you said. It sounds like, but it's we have 2 operators that are trained to actually put planned explosives on a doorway and blow it off, which is huge because a lot of times when you if you kick at a door or if you see the movies, they have the
ram.
Yeah, with the ram. That can work or it might not work, but the explosive breach almost always works.
Right.
And there's something vulnerable about having the doors of your building blown off. So if someone wants to keep the cops out and their doors are gone, that kind of makes them feel insecure, and they may be more inclined to give up, peacefully. So we have that. We have ballistic shields that we'll bring out. We have chemical munitions, as far as it's like a pepper spray, but it's OC and CS gas that we can put into place. We also coordinate with a drone robot team, and we have a negotiators team that's also separate from us. So when we have a critical incident here in Fond du Lac, basically everybody's called out for it. But it's good because you want people that specialize in an area. You don't want one person doing all things. So we could have a call out where we use a robot, we use negotiators, we use us, and we may be using the county, and the county has their own SWAT team, and people are like, well, why do you need 2 SWAT teams in this area? And it's basically because of size. We hold ourselves to NTOA standards. NTOA stands for the National Tactical Officers Association. So they are the ruling, the person that they are like a hub of information for all SWAT teams in the United States, and they have certain standards and guidelines that they go for. And one of the things they talk about is size of teams. Our size of our team in the city is about 13 members. Kind of fluctuates. Sometimes I think we've gotten up to 15, but it's 13 to 15 members. According to NTOA standards, that's just called a critical response team. They don't even call that a SWAT team yet. You have to have about 26 members to be a SWAT team, and the reason is because of hostage rescue. Because hostage rescue, if you have a building and you need to clear it fast and save people's lives, you need a lot of people. So you put our team and the county's team together, and we have a pretty good SWAT team, our hostage rescue team. And that's why you'll see a lot of times us and the county working together on SWAT calls. And they have their own armored vehicle, we have our own armored vehicle, so we like to have both of them out there. It's more protection. We're able to surround buildings or houses a little bit better, and we're able to have more operators at our disposal for that. We also have snipers on our SWAT team. I think everybody knows what a sniper is. It's pretty much, there's been enough movies on them and stuff like that, but they get to do cool stuff. And then like some other tools that we train on is we have we have a lot of stuff. We have to train every year. We have other ways of opening doors and windows and stuff like that we have to train on as well. A lot of them come from it's a launcher. It's the same way we would put chemical munitions into a residence, but we can launch different rounds that either break glasses or doors or things like that to help us do things safely. And it sounds like, oh, all these things, they sound so violent, and what are you talking about doing things safely? If there's only a suspect in a house, our goal is to have that person come out to us. And I talk about all these things: explosive breach, chemical munitions, robots, drones. All these things are ways for us to not have to go in that residence and go try to get that person, because we are at a tactical disadvantage anytime we try to do that. So if there are no hostages in that place, for one, us as SWAT team members kind of take a nice deep breath and we're like, all right, like now the advantage is on our side because we're gonna have that person come out. To the point where we could write in our warrant that we can just start destroying the house and before we go in there. So we might start collapsing parts of the house, depending on what we want this person for, before we go in there and putting ourselves at that tactical disadvantage. Hostage rescue is a little bit different. We might have to, put ourselves at a little bit more risk because we have to be ready to respond to a hostage rescue plan. So, but it's good to have all these tools, and the nice thing about the city of Fond du Lac is that they afford us all these tools, because all these things cost money, right? And, and every time we have an operator for them, we usually have to send them to some specific training to keep their certification. So they all cost money, but it's gonna pay off, and it already has paid off dividends when that super severe call comes out where we need the Fond du Lac SWAT team.
And you talked about a lot of moving parts, a lot of different teams, obviously all coming together to be one team. How does all that coordination work? Is there one point person, multiple point people who work together?
So it depends on the call in reality. So if the call happens, and I talked about the city and the county working together, if it happens in the city, then we're gonna be pretty much the primary people running it. But we'll be using their team and going through their leadership of their team. If the county uses us, it'll be just the opposite. One thing that we did really cool this year, to get to us, we used to not train a lot with the county SWAT team. We actually changed our main training day to the same day as the county's team. So I think we've had 5 co-trains with the county, and we got 1 more coming up in December. So we've become a lot more familiar with each other, which has been great as far as, you want to have a good working relationship. Not that we were ever disappointed before, but you do run into some errors in communication or things that they may speak just a little bit different than you do on the radio, and you get kind of used to it. So, and even just switching your radio over to their frequencies and stuff like that. So, it's been a really good relationship. We worked together a lot, which has built a pretty good partnership between us and the county.
Awesome. Very insightful today on SWAT. Behind the Badge, KFIZ Today.